On January 27, 2020, the stock market witnessed something it had never seen before. In a single day, one company lost $583 billion. To put that in perspective, that is more than the entire value of Coca-Cola or Netflix, wiped out in a matter of hours. It was, and still is, the largest single-day loss of any company in the history of the stock market. The company was Nvidia, the beating heart of the artificial intelligence boom, and the most valuable business on the planet. A chip designer whose hardware had quietly become the picks and shovels of the entire AI gold rush. So what could possibly erase $500 billion overnight? Not a fraud, not a factory explosion, not a war. It was a free app released by a Chinese startup that weeks earlier almost nobody outside China had ever heard of. A model they claimed to have built for the price of a single luxury apartment, around $6 million. This is the story of how a quiet side project from a hedge fund detonated $1 trillion bomb under Silicon Valley. To understand the panic, you first have to understand the machine that DeepSeek threatened. For 2 years, the tech world had been in an all-out arms race, the race to build artificial intelligence. It had begun in late 2022, when ChatGPT reached 100 million users faster than any product in history, and every tech giant panicked. And that race ran on one thing: Nvidia's chips. The reigning champion, the H100, cost around $40,000 each. Demand was so ferocious that buyers waited months for delivery, and Nvidia still could not build them fast enough. And the giants did not buy a few. They bought them by the hundreds of thousands. Microsoft, Meta, Google, and Amazon together poured over $200 billion a year into AI infrastructure. It was the largest infrastructure build-out since the age of the railroads. And Nvidia sold the rails. Almost every dollar of it flowed through Nvidia. It was the ultimate toll booth. To build serious AI, you paid Nvidia. There was no other road. Wall Street called it a moat, an unbreakable one. That belief turned Nvidia into the first company on Earth worth more than $3 trillion. No rival could catch up. To even enter the race, you first had to buy your weapons from the very company you hoped to defeat. Jensen Huang, its leather-jacketed founder, became a rock star of the industry. The entire thesis rested on a single assumption: that world-class AI would always be brutally, unavoidably expensive. Bigger models, more data, more chips, in that order, forever. On Wall Street, it was gospel. Everyone believed it. And then someone proved it was not true. DeepSeek did not come from Stanford or OpenAI or a Google lab. It came from Hangzhou, China, out of a quantitative hedge fund called High Flyer. Its founder, Liang Wenfeng, was not a celebrity CEO. He was a quiet engineer, obsessed with one question: how do machines actually think? Born in a small town in Guangdong, Liang had been studying how machines see the world long before artificial intelligence was fashionable. Liang had made his fortune using AI to trade the Chinese stock market. He had built one of China's most successful quant funds, letting algorithms trade billions while he slept. By 2021, High Flyer managed around $14 billion. But Liang was quietly obsessed with something far bigger than trading. In 2023, he spun off a separate lab and gave it a name that would soon rattle Silicon Valley: DeepSeek. Its stated mission sounded almost naive. Not quick profit, but the raw pursuit of artificial general intelligence. And here is the twist that makes this story almost poetic. Back in 2021, before almost anyone was talking about ChatGPT, Liang started hoarding Nvidia chips, thousands of them, around 10,000 of the most advanced GPUs money could buy. It was the equivalent of a small nation's supercomputer sitting quietly inside a hedge fund. People thought he was crazy. A hedge fund, stockpiling supercomputer hardware. Then in 2022, the United States banned the sale of those exact chips to China. Overnight, Liang's stockpile became one of the most valuable AI arsenals in the country. But it also came with a hard limit. He could not buy more of the best ones. So while American labs threw more and more chips at the problem, DeepSeek was forced down a different path. They had to make each chip do far more with far less. Constraint, it turned out, was the mother of their invention. So DeepSeek's engineers rebuilt the model from the ground up, designed to waste absolutely nothing. Instead of one giant brain, they used a mixture of experts, waking only the pieces each task actually needed. They trained in 8-bit precision, squeezing more calculation out of every single chip they had. These were tricks the biggest labs understood, but had little reason to bother with. They could always just buy more hardware. In December 2024, DeepSeek released a model called Vi3. It was enormous, 671 billion parameters, but engineered to be shockingly efficient. Yet only 37 billion of those parameters fired at any moment, a sliver of the usual cost to run. And then came the number that broke the internet. DeepSeek said the final training run cost just $5.6 million. American labs were spending hundreds of millions, sometimes billions, to train comparable models. OpenAI's GPT-4 was rumored to have cost well over $100 million just to train. Now that $6 million figure deserves an asterisk. It only counts the final training run, not the years of research, the salaries, or that 10,000 chip stockpile. Still, even the harshest skeptics agreed on one thing. DeepSeek had cut the real cost of training by an order of magnitude, but the headline was already everywhere, and the shock was real. Then, in January 2025, DeepSeek dropped R1, a reasoning model that could think step by step. On benchmark after benchmark, it went toe-to-toe with the best from OpenAI. It scored at the very top in math, in coding, in step-by-step reasoning, matching models that cost a fortune to even access. And then they did the unthinkable. They made it open, free for anyone to download and use. Anyone, a student, a startup, even a rival government, could now download a near-frontier model and run it themselves. No $40,000 chips required, no subscription, just free. DeepSeek's app rocketed to #1 on the US App Store, past ChatGPT itself. Millions of Americans were suddenly using a Chinese AI for free. In days, DeepSeek had done what years of trade policy could not. It made America doubt its own lead. And every investor on Wall Street was asking the same terrifying question. If AI can be this cheap and this good, who still needs to spend hundreds of billions on Nvidia chips? On Monday, January 27th, they got their answer. The moment US markets opened, AI stocks went into freefall. In Tokyo and Frankfurt, chip stocks were already bleeding red before New York even opened its eyes. Nvidia led the collapse, dropping 17% in a single session. In a matter of minutes, Nvidia shed more value than most entire countries produce in a year. $593 billion gone. Its worst day in history. The damage spread everywhere. Chip makers, power companies, data center firms, Broadcom, TSMC, and even the power companies betting on AI's endless hunger all cratered together. By the end of the day, nearly $1 trillion had evaporated from the market. The venture capitalist Mark Andreessen called it AI's Sputnik moment. A wake-up call, he said, on par with the day the Soviets shocked America into the space race. But then, something unexpected happened. The panic started to reverse, for a reason straight out of economics textbooks. It is called Jevons paradox. When a resource becomes cheaper, we do not use less of it. We use dramatically more. If AI becomes cheap enough for everyone, the world will run vastly more of it, needing even more chips, not fewer. Steam, electricity, the internet. Every one of them got cheaper, and every one of them we used far more, not less. Within weeks, Nvidia clawed back its losses. Within months, it hit new all-time highs. The giants did not retreat. Within a year, their planned AI spending had not shrunk. It climbed past $300 billion. And here lies the final, delicious irony. America's chip bans were designed to slow China down. Instead, they forced DeepSeek to become the most efficient AI lab on Earth and handed the world a blueprint for cheap AI. Overnight, dozens of labs around the world held a recipe for building powerful AI on a budget. A hedge fund's side project, $6 million, one free app. For one unforgettable day, it broke the most valuable company in history. The moat everyone swore was unbreakable now had a visible crack, put there by a team most had never heard of. DeepSeek did not topple the empire, but it exposed the truth every empire tries to hide, that no throne is ever as secure as it looks. In technology, being first and being richest has never once guaranteed being safe. Artificial empires. If a story like this fascinates you, subscribe to Artificial Empires and follow along as we uncover how these companies rise, rule, and fall. A new episode every week.